Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Lynette Territz. I'm the Director of Operations at the Albany County Land Bank. It is 3:17 on Wednesday, February 11, 2026. We're calling to order a meeting of the Land Bank's Real Estate Committee, and we're holding this meeting remotely per New York State Open Meetings Law. This meeting is available on the Land Bank's YouTube channel for listening and viewing. Today on the call participating in the committee, we have the following board members: Charles Toohey, our chairman; Sam Wells, vice chair; Joe Seaman Graves; Natisha Alexander; and from the Land Bank staff, we have joining us Sean McGuire, Lillian Butch, Jason Chacoin, and remotely Susan Baker. Oh, and also, I'm sorry, we also have Joe Seaman Graves, member of the board. The agenda, which has been circulated to the committee members, contains 7 items. The first item is a review of the minutes for December 10, 2025 and January 14, 2026. Are there any questions, suggestions, or amendments to the minutes as presented?
No.
Okay. If there are no changes, then can I have a motion to approve and adopt the minutes to our record?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right. The next item on our agenda is new acquisition. So this is a donation of 90 vacant lots near Crumpkill Road. It's 18 to 28 Donald Street, 1-26 Endicott Avenue, 73-178 Oliver Avenue, and then 20-50 Waltham Avenue. And I'm just going to give you a little summary here. The current owner, they said that it's 90 lots total, roughly 9 acres over 2 separate tracts. The parcels in the larger tract are accessible from a field drive on Crumpkill Road. The smaller tract would require build out of the paper street access. They've owned the property for around 22 years. The original intent was to build a 30-unit multifamily development. It proved to be too challenging due to zoning change and land constraints. Taxes are paid up to date. And they said with the exception of a city sewer easement and deed restricted wetlands, there are no other encumbrances on the parcels. They believe both tracts could be utilized, but they have no plans to develop them.
Lynette, do we have their, I know they seem they have a civil plan, early stage, but somebody was out there. Do we have their survey, wetland delineation, title reports? Has any of that been provided?
No, we do not.
We have the one plan developed that was done by Hirschberg that shows the deed restrictions due to wetlands there. So we have that. I had talked to Avi Epstein in planning, and they were trying to get prior records for this project down to us. I haven't heard back, and he was out on Tuesday. So we did want to review that because we were trying to get a sense as to what the history was here. One of the challenges with them developing this has been the single family zoning designation, and what they were looking to do was not single family. And so that had held them up there. There's a couple of owners in that area that seem to own a majority of the tracts. I think one of the biggest challenges is infrastructure. Nobody wants to be the one who has to build the road because then it opens it up for somebody else. From front to back, that's like a 2,000-foot stretch, and then you'd still have to figure out where the additional access is going to be because it's going to be so deep. You're going to with the fire code, you're going to have other access out to Crumpkill Road or Woodville. So there are some things that have to be done to make this work if they don't concentrate the development and access it from Crumpkill. But as you see on the slide, the slide that shows with the green background, that's got the map from Hirschberg that shows the limits on the wetland. And then the next page, we got that updated map out to everybody. Mm-hmm. The next page just shows where the tracks lie in that whole area because they're in 2 separate groupings.
Would it be possible to send the Hirschberg PDF? I just can't make out what's identified as wetlands here. I know on the DEC mapper, there's 3 wetlands I'm not seeing shown by Hirschberg, so I don't know if this is desktop data or flagged wetlands in the field. It's kind of hard to see on here.
Yeah, I can get that over.
Yeah, because I already sent this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, look surveyed because they have waypoints along the way. And you can't see it necessarily in the table, but there's 2 different tables of the deed restricted lands with reference points on it, so. Let's, we can send that out.
Yeah, it's just hard to see I think the screenshots in the slide, it's not as clear as like just a plain PDF would be to zoom in on, so it's hard for me. I'm just having a hard time making out specifically what I'm
Actually, if
looking
you
at here.
go, there were attachments in addition to the slides, Joe.
Oh, okay. Where maybe
Yeah,
I'm missing them.
if
I'm
you keep
sorry.
going, yeah, so there are additional pages. Let me just see which page, I'll tell you which page. There should be page 15. Let me see.
Yeah, I think you should.
It's like an over,
This is how it's,
yeah, that's how it's coming through.
yeah,
Okay.
and just during
So
the conversion
pixelated.
process.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess broader. So we're gonna have, we mentioned infrastructure issues with wetlands. I'm not sure if it's just the wetlands here or he's put the buffers on. I don't know if anyone's gone through the DEC process currently, but they now have a much more stringent review process. So even though we're seeing wetlands here, it could be more than 100-foot buffer, depending on how they classify the wetlands. Um, we got forested areas. The IPAC review I pulled up, just showed presence of bald eagles, bats, butterflies, all protected. So nothing that's
I was down too far.
nothing that's like a deal breaker. But when you put all these things together, I guess the conversation for the board is, what are we looking to accomplish with this land, right? Is it buildable? Hard to say from what we're seeing. I think we need to do some more work. Are we looking to hold it and donate it just for green space preservation? I don't think I have enough information to say one way or the other at the moment. I'd like to see more information on the site. If we have the PDFs, great. If we have the actual wetland delineation that fed into this, that would be even better. Any other due diligence they did to determine that it's not going to work for them would be good for us to see while making the decision. But I don't know if I could.
We only want to take something that we can get out the door. We don't want to take it to become millstone around our neck.
What? You saw it already.
My thought on these properties is that this is potentially, I mean, these properties have been like this in this form for a while now. There's lots of development challenges here. And because of that, I wonder, if the city of Albany may want to preserve, the public right over these properties and sort of direct their future, have that choice of that.
Surely it's so.
As opposed to, I know the previous administration wasn't ever keen on, sorry, we have somebody else in the chat. Could they
Just talking.
mute themselves? I know the previous administration wasn't keen on adding and acquiring property in the city, obviously given budgetary and property tax issues. But I think this is an opportunity to take some lots that otherwise would bounce around, and the city could, maybe take the driver's wheel and guide what happens here. It's just something to present to the new administration as an opportunity. Not sure what their opinions on it would be, but you know, for a challenging property like this, and there may be interest from the water department, right? Or other departments in the city, given, you know, that the Crumbkill's right there, and that there are wetlands there. Water department's always looking for locations for water mitigation, flooding mitigation projects, just like they did in the other side of the city over the past few years. So I'm leaning towards accepting it. I think it's an interesting opportunity, but I also agree with Charlie. You know, we can't hold on to these forever. We're not going to be the repository for every municipality that you know, wants to control property without actually owning it. So sort of conflicted in a way. I don't want to say no to them, but I you know, imagine we probably need to have more conversations with the city and with DEC and other stakeholders first before making a solid decision one way or the other. But definitely, I wouldn't push you know, the donor away. We certainly want to, you know, maintain their interest in donating this property.
Yeah, and I agree with both Sam and Joe that we need more information because we need to know what we're accepting here. And there's nothing like having a lot of information. So there's no rush to do it. We don't want to discourage them, but they need to give us more information along the lines of what Joe said.
I do remember, and Charlie, you may have a better memory of this, that there was a proposal on some of these properties a while back for a multi-story, multi-family development that the neighborhood wasn't really keen on, but that might have been 15, 20 plus years ago.
You're testing my memory on that one.
It's a vague notion in my mind. I could be completely wrong, but
I hate to tell you, but it was longer than that. It was 2003. It was there was an article in the TU from August 2003 about rezoning it for a 300-unit, 12-story luxury apartment complex.
Jeez, oh my God.
yeah. I mean, I'd be curious to dig up those plans, right? Like it'd be very interesting to see which of these parcels are actually developable, right? Those are ones we could, you know, maybe not something that big, but certainly package for a developer to do something similar. And then the non-developable ones, hopefully, you know, ideally the city would be interested in maintaining those as part of their, you know, conservation, flood mitigation efforts. You know, in my ideal scenario here.
Yeah, they had pivoted this back in, so after that proposal in 2003, they eventually pivoted in 2006 through 2011 for a subdivision approval for 33 units, a single family cluster subdivision. And so they did have a 2011 approval for that for 33 single family homes. That's the plan. I just have the notes from the city on it, but I don't have the full plans from that.
Yeah, I mean that
was feasible at some point.
Pursuing something like that, or even another multifamily project, maybe not 300 units, but you know, I mean, the city and the region need all the housing it can get and need all the, you know, you're adding taxable value to the city's tax rolls. So it's something it's an opportunity we definitely should pursue, and something that could be financially very beneficial to the land bank too.
And
yeah, go ahead, Joe.
no, I just add, thanks for sending the PDF over. It looks like the wetland delineations from '02, so take it with a grain of salt on here because that's you know, a little bit outdated, but yeah, I'm not against, you know, if the landowner is currently good on taxes, he's holding it. I doubt there's much resale value at this point if he's looking to donate it, just to be frank. Maybe I'm wrong there. Ask to see if he's got more information on it, you know, or they do. Let him hold it for another month or two. We can talk to the city. And then maybe the information they provide can give us a better idea of if this is at all buildable. It's interesting to hear that there's been a couple different plans. I don't know if they just didn't work out because of the financials or because of what we're seeing on the site itself. But there's even test pit marks here, so there was archaeological done. So I'd be interested to
Yeah.
see if there's more data they could provide so we can have like a holistic conversation.
I think in that 33 units, there was issues about water supply and whether that have to be pumped there. And I don't know if the water department at that time, I know from my prior experience, we wanted to avoid pumps because they're just expensive. So if they had to pump water there for water pressure, then it's probably something the water department didn't want to do. Or, you know, the developer would have to bear the cost of. So it could be that we can find out. We'll circle back next time. We have another call. We usually have a call scheduled for Tuesdays with planning, so we'll see if they got any more information. I know they had to get out of record storage.
Yeah, no, this is fascinating. Even, you know, regardless of what we do, this is definitely an interesting donation proposal and very much what the land bank was designed to you know, consider this kind of stuff. So
My
how did this, if you don't mind me asking, how did it come about? Did they reach out to us? Did we?
Yes. Yep, he
Yeah.
reached out to us.
Okay.
I think the you know, there's a couple of things that weigh into my mind on this. Is one, from a strategic position, because he did have approval for 33, that there is a path forward on this, but we have to understand the feasibility on why it didn't come to, you know, was it the water department issue? Was it the, you know, the cost of, you know, building roads in there? The other, so there's opportunity there, but two, to the earlier discussion, the executive committee on the acquisition policy, you know, about receiving something to eventually go to the benefit of the municipality. I'm not an accountant, but maybe there's a better tax advantage to donating to a nonprofit than it is to just turn that over to the city. And so, you know, there's going to be a tax advantage to the donation. Maybe that's, you know, the reason they approach us and then not just simply, you know, go to the city and just ask if the city wants to take the properties over. I don't think it's undevelopable like the Troy Schenectady Road property that when I was in Colony, you know, we worked with the land bank to acquire that because that was completely a site that could not be developed at all, but the land bank had ownership of. I don't think it's to that extreme, but it's going to be, I think, we'll have to explore like what the limitation is. Like again, if it's the water, what is the limitation there? Is it, can we only support no houses? Could it support 5? Can it support 20? I don't know. So I think we can proceed forward with more due diligence if you want us to. If this isn't a hard pass, then we can keep going down that path.
Yeah, I think all of us agree it's definitely worth pursuing further just to learn more. I mean, even if we can get, you know, even if there's 5 houses that are buildable out of this, I think that's a win for everybody. So
yeah, and if Hirschberg did the plans, too, we could probably talk to those. We could probably talk to Bill or somebody over in Dan's office. All right. Well, it's good to know that it's not we don't want to spend too much more time on it, only for it not to be something that we all agreed upon. So we'll keep working on the due diligence.
All right, the next item on the agenda, the disposition, it's 585 3rd Street. The applicant, the intended use is the applicant wants to maintain the lot. He said that he wants to clean the lot, remove debris, garbage, and maintain it in good standing. The applicant already owns 573 2nd Street and 663 2nd Street. They were sold to this applicant by the land bank and they are maintaining both properties. Now, this lot has been in our inventory for 1,839 days. So the staff recommends that we approve this applicant.
Lynette, is this a buildable lot?
There was a building on this lot at one point, but now it's vacant.
Natasha, this is one of those ones that I think could be a buildable lot, but we don't have any immediate plans for. And then when we go back and look at how long we've been holding it for, we take that into consideration.
the applicant, how were their lots, their other 2 properties they purchased in 2021? How are they looking? Did we Were we able to do a quick drive-by or take a look at those?
Yeah, they've been maintaining them. And taxes are up to date and everything.
Awesome. Given the length of time we've had these, I'm okay with selling it to this applicant. But this is also exactly the type of properties that I think would be good, right? If we publish that RFP, put out the RFP asking for an evaluation of the land bank's lots, exactly one of the properties we'd love to, have a little more thought on in the future. So I'm okay with this disposition, but
And that's my point, right? And that was my point in asking about the lot. And I know that's Sean knew that's where I was going. And to Sam's point, I'm okay with it. But at some point, we have to get to a point where we understand our inventory, what lots are buildable, because we can't. We're a part of an ecosystem, and at some point, we're gonna have to play our part in the ecosystem too. And if we have buildable lots, and we're disposing of them, but at some point in the near future, I do believe there's going to be some projects coming along where those lots can be built on. We've given up a lot for someone to do a garden. I know that's not what this is for, but I'm just saying it because a lot of our lots are for gardens. To do a garden where we could have built housing on. That's my only issue with us disposing of buildable lots. And I understand that we've had it for a long time. So that putting that aside, my only issue with us disposing of buildable lots is that we are in a housing crisis, and the land bank, is in a position where we can help because we have the land to build on.
No, I agree with you. I think it's the holding time that comes into mind here is that 800 days, almost 6 years, and we haven't had anybody.
Nope, that's
Yeah.
completely understandable, Sean. I'm not even arguing that at all.
Yeah. Okay. We're all on the same page. All right, so we'll move ahead. We'll bring that to the board for a full approval.
This is a good case study on why we're gonna do the consultant, so that they will have a little paragraph about this lot. So, yeah, we're gonna do this one this time, but this militates for why we should have the consultant, so that we know what's buildable and what's not.
And prioritize them too, because even if they're all buildable, if somebody else can come along. I think the other side of it for me is that if somebody can come along and build on it before we can, that still achieves the goal.
That's right.
Agreed. Agreed.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so now the next property that we have is 8 Westbrook. This is a vacant lot. We also have this property in our inventory for 1,839 days. We have 2 applicants. One wants to, let's see, the intended use for one of them is to build a single family home, a new construction. The applicant owns property at 1 Spruce Street and has a home equity line of credit in the amount of $185,000 with $49,718 currently available. In addition to approximately $8,000 in a savings account, the applicant has been asked to respond to questions regarding the estimated project timeline and cost estimate, as well as access to additional funding to complete the proposed project. The applicant was given over 60 days to provide proof of funding, but we have not heard back from that applicant. The second applicant, the proposed use is to transform the property into a traditional plants garden park centered on, and I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry. Haudenosaunee, cultural preservation, food sovereignty and education featuring indigenous plants, community garden beds, and a nature trail with future plans for small gathering space. The application includes a thorough project timeline, letters of support from community members, identified grant opportunities, and a clear funding strategy, and notes that the applicant currently owns and responsibly maintains properties at 739 New Scotland Avenue and 770 Livingston Avenue. The staff recommendation is to approve that second applicant contingent upon the applicant's acceptance of the land bank's counter offer in the amount of $7,500.
I agree with that recommendation. I wish our first applicant had the funds to be able to pull off a new home construction, but 49,000 and change just isn't gonna get you a house these days. So, and they were given time to provide proof of additional funding. So I'm in agreement with staff recommendation.
Any other questions, concerns?
Good here.
Okay, all right, we'll move forward with that. Now, the last item, we're circling back to the Swift Road property. So the board had already approved the sale of this property. However, the buyer came back to us and wanted to convert the purchase into an option agreement. They want to conduct pre-development investigation of the property to ensure buildability. The municipality had indicated that compacting fill may not be sufficient to build due to a potential stream underneath the property. So they want to look into whether or not, the property is buildable and if there is a stream underneath. So they're asking for an option agreement, a 12-month option agreement. The staff recommends that the board approve the 12-month option agreement to allow for pre-development due diligence.
Sounds great, as long as they cover insurance, any insurance maintenance costs.
Absolutely.
I'm good with that, and they seem to be. To me, this is a sign of our buyer taking this seriously and really doing their homework to make sure it's successful if they are able to build on this. So I'm all for it.
Does that, I'm sorry, Natisha.
I'm fine with it. I just want to, process wise, let's say, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen like this. Let's say that the municipality say they can't build on it. Then does that mean that we're getting the property back from them? We're going to buy it back from them, or?
No, so with the option agreement, what that means is that we're going to hold the property for them for that 12-month period so that they can do their due diligence.
Oh, so until they do the due diligence. Okay, got it. And that's why Sam said insurance. Okay, I'm here. Yep,
Yes.
I'm fine.
All right, great. Because with option agreements, we actually collect that payment up front too. So we're covered for maintenance and insurance.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's that property becomes quote unquote free for us to hold
Mhm.
for that period of time, which is great. So
Okay.
Works for me. Thank you.
All right, great. Any other questions, concerns at all?
Nope.
All right. So that was the last item on the agenda. So I think we're all set for now until 4 o'clock. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, I have a question for you, Sean.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's not about this. Let's end this meeting. It's not about this meeting.
Okay.
Okay.